Well, we'll take it. That's a great first half start for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and the defense is dominating.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host of Locked On West Virginia, and it's halftime, baby, of the Backyard Brawl. Going to be brought to you by Mazda. Right now, we sweat for every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. So stay tuned for highlights in this week's moving game forward. Mazda, move or be moved. This was an interesting first half. The defense is playing lights out again. We've got a good enough defense to win with this year. Our offense is totally inept at times. And I told you guys the offensive line felt like they'd fixed some things. And I feel like they've proven that today in the first half. Not so much in pass pro, but in run game for sure. So the only thing at this point that I wonder is if you had a quarterback that could pull it, what would that do for your offense? And is the fact that Nico's 9 out of 11 or whatever it is, I have to look, and it may have updated since the half went. Nico's 9 for 12, 76 yards. It's been efficient at times. He hasn't made bad mistakes. He isn't losing the game for you for sure, but he's not winning the game for you either, is he? So I think at the end of the day, you have to consider changing quarterbacks. I do. I think that's the way it is. You know, I mean, I've got people texting me saying they're disappointed. I understand that. I mean, it's just that we're barely getting by. I mean, we're barely getting by, you know, like, I'm sorry. I understand that, but, you know, it's more about the team's winning right now. That's what's important to me. I understand that certain players aren't being targeted or whatever, but, you know, I think we just have to be okay with winning this game at halftime right now. Now, we got screwed at the end of the half. That should have been 3 points. It's definitely a loophole. Stupid Nats. You know, but for me, I'm okay with just being up, to be honest, after last week. I don't think that this would have been the case last week, you know. We're coming off the loss to MAC Team Ohio, and I mean, we're lucky to even be in this position to be winning right now. The defense looks terrific. I don't know why Jamori Robinson didn't play. We had all these different outlets say that he was going to play before the game, so I reported that. I have no idea why that's not happening. You know, Holstein has 179 yards. A lot of that came on one play. So I think we really held him in check for the most of the – what do you have, a 60 or 70-yard play in the first half? So, you know, had it not been for that one play, he'd probably have 120 yards right now, right? So I think at the end of the day, I know I've said this, but we're up. So that's a good starting point. We get the ball at half. You've got to figure out something. I don't know what happened to Ty Edwards there at the end of the half. Would have been great to see him get a couple more carries. They're probably trying to preserve him a little bit for the second half. He's got Ollie Gordon vibes. We've got a running back in Ty Edwards that can definitely play. Now, does he have the stamina at 6'2", 230, 240 pounds to be an every down back? Probably not yet. You know, give him a couple more games to get back in shape. But our offensive line has played better in run blocking, for sure. And that's what I was told this week that they were able to fix. They figured some things out they could do well. But the problem with it is if you've got a quarterback that can play off of their run, that's when you do well. Unfortunately, Nico, and it's weird because Nico came to West Virginia considered to be a dual threat quarterback. And he is just not anymore. I feel like he's lost a step even. Does anybody else feel that way? Like it feels like Nico Marchiol has gotten slower by quite a large margin since he's been at West Virginia. Under Neil Brown, he ran it all the time, different way. I mean, you remember the Oklahoma State game, he ran the dude over. I mean, he's never been a burner, but it feels like he's lost some explosion or something like that. You know, I just don't feel like Nico's going to win us the game, guys. Like if you're asking me, I don't even think it's a question. It's not even a question. He's not winning the game for us. He's made the occasional throw, but he's not going to win the game for us. As a matter of fact, Pitt's going to break loose and score because our defense can't do that. I don't think we can replicate that half again. I doubt it. I would be shocked if we did. We don't have the depth. So it's either you've got to extend some drives and give your defense a break in this second half and try to, at least keep the ball for 8-10 plays. And even if you're kicking field goals, but this whole 3-and-out deal just can't happen. So, I wish that I don't really care who comes in, to be honest, of the three. I think either of the three, they all do different things well. I still think Max Brown throws the ball really well. I think Jalen Henderson can throw it if he gets comfortable in the offense. And I don't know what Scotty can do. We haven't seen it yet, except for one run. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to make a change. If you're asking me, I'm going to say no. They're not going to make a change. But do I think we should? Yes, I do. And I love Nico, and I wish it was better. It's just we're not equipped to win with him. Nico's not the kind of quarterback that you have that elevates everybody else around him. He's the kind of player that would be really good with really good players everywhere. We just don't have that. We don't, and Pitt also has a good defense. So it's like, you take both. What would Ty Edwards have done against Ohio last week? You think he would have broke through for a couple of runs and got us a couple first downs? I think so. It's very frustrating. I know players have been open and things like that. Like, I know that. Like, I went back and looked at a few replays. Nico's definitely not seeing the field 100% well. So, you have to ask yourself this question. Are you okay with playing another half like this where maybe you score, maybe you don't? Maybe you roll Nico out of the pocket and you do a couple of things and you get a scoring drive going. Or you change quarterbacks and risk somebody coming in and maybe making a mistake, maybe throwing an interception, having a turnover. Like, you're weighing that risk if you're Rich Rodriguez right now. And I don't know the answer. Most likely you don't know the answer. So, that's where it's at. I've been positive, Andrew, the whole time. Like I said, I told you guys early last week that the offensive line was going to be better. I feel like it's been better, definitely better. I mean, what are we doing on running? I mean, Ty Edwards has 77 yards and a touchdown. I would consider that to be better, right? That's getting it fixed. So I just think that, Clay isn't, for whatever reason, without a lane to run in, he's not able to break the tackles at the line of scrimmage like Ty is. But Clay looked good at times in the first half. If you give him a lane to run through, once he gets to the open field, then yeah, I love it. I love what he can do. It's just, unfortunately, we need a guy that's going to break tackles at the line. And Pitt's going to make some adjustments, I'm sure, to Ty Edwards, but I really enjoyed what I saw from him in the first half. Cam Vaughn has been open. Jeff Weimer has been open. So I get it. There are people that aren't exactly happy with that right now, but it'll be fun to see what happens with the rest of it. Let's go to break really quick. We'll just kind of, because the halftime probably won't last much longer. We'll try to make a couple predictions in the second half. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Mazda. Of course, we're talking about Mazda on this one. When it comes to Mazda, man, for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. And those are the moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is putting Ty Edwards in the game. Ty Edwards in the game absolutely changed the game for West Virginia. We wouldn't have 7 points without him. Absolutely. So, just like Ty Edwards, obviously Mazda is one of those things where when the unexpected comes in, that usually is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Do that today with Mazda. Move and be moved. And I've got the game on right here, guys. So it's definitely, they're still throwing highlights. So all right, guys, it's segment 2. Let's crack a Gatorade. I don't have a do with me. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Jamori. I have no clue. I think, maybe he's just didn't play enough padded practices or whatever. They've got the acclimation period. Maybe that's what happened, or maybe he's not in good enough shape to play yet. There could be a thing or like that. But I mean, can you imagine if we had him? Oh my God. Our pass rush is already incredible. Good Lord, y'all. Yeah, maybe he's sitting out the first half. Who knows? Maybe he'll play in the second half. I have no idea. Why would he dress and not play? That's what I can't figure out. So if he's able to play, what's going on? Maybe it's rules within West Virginia University. Like maybe it's Rich Rod's rules. Like you can't play unless you practiced or I don't know. But he's got his jersey on with his pants on. Yeah, I mean he had that. But yeah, anyways, everybody reported that he was going to dress and maybe play. And, for whatever reason, he's just got his jersey and his pants on. I don't know why or what, but oh well. We can't do anything about it. Obviously, yes, exactly, Raven. Zach Alley has proven to be just an amazing hire. We'll be lucky if we keep him more than a year. I feel like it just feels like this is the kind of coach we don't get to keep. Like, I feel like Zach Alley at some point, if not already, can be considered, one of the 2 or 3 best defensive coordinators in the sport. I really feel like he's trending that direction. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it, man. If we can score coming out of this first half, we're going to put Pitt in a position to where they've got to throw it all the time. It's either going to be really good or really bad. Also, by the way, obviously Reed going out, Desmond Reed was enormous in the first half. I don't wish injuries on anybody, but good luck for next week, So Holstein's nose has gotten bloodied. This defense came to play. If anybody has a picture of Eli Holstein's nose bleeding, if we win the game, that's going on the thumbnail. You know what I mean? Like I might even rewind the game back to that point just to get it on a screenshot, like I gotta have that picture. Oh my God, that picture is going up every single day until 2029 if I can find it. All right, I see that our marching band is being shown, so they're still out doing halftime. So we'll continue a few other thoughts here about the game. If you're going to put my feet to the fire and ask me who I think we should bring in at quarterback, my gut just tells me, and I'm not at practice every day, so there could be a really good reason for this, but I think Max Brown. Something tells me in my gut, Max Brown. Maybe Scotty Fox. If I feel like Jalen can throw it, I mean, maybe he can, but Max can run, and he can also really throw. His decision making can be poor at times, or it has been in the past. As I've noted, that's been his issue. Scotty is a true freshman. You can't throw him probably into the situation. So it's probably either Jalen or bust. I mean, if you're asking me who I think it would be, Jalen would get the next shot, but I think Max should get consideration. Khalil's an interesting one as well if you're talking about a dynamic running option. But I've never felt like Khalil was as dynamic as, he's no more dynamic than Jalen is. Jalen Henderson is as good a runner as Khalil is, unless Khalil's gotten more explosive since high school. In high school, Khalil was a good but not great runner, sort of like if you remember Jarrett Brown, maybe similar to him, not quite as fast, or like I'm trying to think of somebody like Geno Smith. That's a great example right there. Like he's like Geno Smith to me. That's how Khalil Wilkins runs. So like he can run, but it's not like he, has a ton of speed or anything. Like he's fast enough. Anyways, yeah, Geno would be great in this offense for sure. Can we just suit Pat White up and pretend like that's Jalen Henderson? I wonder how Pat could actually, if he was actually playing, I wonder how he would look. I mean, he's in his 30s. He could probably still run around. I'm sure he's lost a step or two. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he can run this offense. That's for sure. We've got the horses on offense to be the, what's crazy is this offense could be good. It's just, we're just missing like one or two little components. And I don't know what it's going to take to get it clicking on all cylinders, but I feel like Nico's limited skill set is preventing us from taking the next step. And I feel like even though we have five quarterbacks, the only true pure passer of them, I feel like, and I don't know about Scotty yet, maybe he could be, is Max. And I feel like we had the receivers to be really good. I just do. We've got a good tight end that just doesn't get targeted because he's always walking onto the first read. He's not to the place in this offense to where he's able to stand back and really look around. Nico has a good enough arm to make the throws. It's just that it's up here for him, in my opinion. It's too sped up. All right, guys. We'll go to break one more time, and then we'll come back and we'll end this thing for the backyard brawl. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. Right now, when it comes to DoorDash, we have to be honest. Time to look back at the MVP for this week. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more money every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. We've got to go Ty Edwards, who's delivered in a big way so far. The run in the first half was amazing. When the pressure was on, Ty Edwards came through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, his performance was not a fluke. Ty Edwards could be on a streak. And just like Ty delivered for West Virginia in the first half, let's hope he continues that thing in the second half. And DoorDash can do that for you on your Saturdays with DoorDash streaks. You save every Saturday you order, so stack it up all season, and you can give $250, including 100 in DoorDash credits, on order this Saturday and keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash, where the terms apply. Promo code through 11/18. And of course, we can't end the show without talking about Drip Drop, guys. Drip Drop is one of those places that if you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether it's workouts, long delays on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts. And that's where Drip Drop comes in. So when I'm on top of hydration, I notice everything works. Energy, mood, focus, even my skin. But enough fluids every day isn't always easy. That's why I loving Drip Drop. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. So just head to dripdrop.com, code LockedOnCollege. That's dripdrop.com, code LockedOnCollege. All right, guys, the first half is back on, and the kickoff is about to go off now. Let's get back to the game, and I'll see you after the game for a post-game report. Let's just pray for good news, guys. I'll see you then.